Arin hated noise. He hated chatter in hallways, loud laughter at midnight, guitar strings thrumming through thin hostel walls, the clatter of metal buckets, and the distant shrieks of late-night cricket matches on the lawn. The world outside him always seemed too loud, too eager, too demanding, like it kept tugging at a sleeve he had carefully buttoned out of reach. Silence was the only thing that ever made sense to him. That was before Noah arrived like a patch of morning sun through curtains, not knocking at the door of his life, but drifting in anyway, like light does, unasked, unheld, unavoidable. The first time Arin saw him, Noah was standing near the hostel notice board, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder, his hair still damp from the rain outside. He was smiling at nothing in particular, not at anyone, not for any reason, simply in the way some people breathe, unconsciously. Arin had walked past him without a second look. Or so he told himself later. In truth, he had looked once, a quick, tiny glance, and something unsettlingly gentle moved inside his chest. He ignored it the way he ignored the first signs of lightning before a storm. He had not realized that Noah would become the storm, but the kind that leaves flowers blooming behind. Noah joined the hostel 2 weeks into the semester, late enough that every room was taken except the one beside Arin's. A door apart, a single wall dividing them, a wall that might as well have been the first thread connecting fate to flesh. For Noah, the silence of the corridors felt different, not cold, not intimidating, but waiting to be warmed. He greeted people he barely knew, lent pens to strangers, and handed out smiles the way others handed out change. He was soft in a way the world rarely rewards, but soft in a way Arin felt like the world secretly ached for. To Noah, Arin was a closed window in a corridor full of open doors. To Arin, Noah was unwanted weather. Their first direct conversation happened on a night stitched by monsoon rain, the kind that makes the world feel suspended between breathing and holding its breath. The electricity flickered, then died completely, plunging the hostel into darkness. Thunder rolled across the sky like a restless drum. Most students shouted, swore, or scrambled for candles and phones. Arin did what he always did, sat alone, unbothered. A soft knock landed on his door. He didn't answer. A second knock followed, gentler, almost hesitant. Arin. The voice was warm, tentative. Hey, sorry to disturb. I don't have a candle or a lighter and the corridor's pitch dark. Do you have one? Silence stretched. Arin considered not replying at all. But something, a strange flicker he would later learn to call softness, made him stand, pull open the drawer, and hand over a tiny battery lamp he kept for nights like this. He opened the door just wide enough to pass it through. Noah's face caught the faint light, his lashes wet, raindrops still clinging to his hair, cheeks flushed with the sweet aftertaste of cold wind. Thank you, Noah said softly, holding the lamp like it was a living thing. Arin nodded once and closed the door. No more words. But that was the beginning. The lamp was returned the next morning, but not before it had silently bridged the distance between two lives. After that night, Noah started offering small gestures, not intrusions, just traces of warmth, a polite, good morning, a small, you dropped this, or sometimes just a soft smile in the corridor. Sunlight tapping lightly on frosted glass. Arin never responded beyond curt nods. He liked his quiet life, or he had convinced himself he did. But something strange had begun to shift. He started listening for Noah's footsteps outside before recognizing he was doing it. He noticed when Noah was in the mess hall, when his laughter traveled down the hallway, when his room light stayed on past midnight. He began waiting, silently, stubbornly, unknowingly. 3 weeks later, the next shift arrived, quiet, unannounced, inevitable. The hostel courtyard hosted a small open mic night organized by seniors. Students gathered under strings of fairy lights, monsoon breezes threading through their hair, laughter pooling like warm honey in the air. Arin, of course, planned to avoid it. He walked out only to collect laundry lines before the noise fully bloomed, but he froze halfway down the corridor when he heard Noah's voice floating with the breeze. I didn't plan to sing, I'm not really prepared, but, okay, fine, just one song. The crowd cheered softly. Arin should have walked away. Yet his feet carried him far enough to hear, but not be seen. Noah began with a single note, gentle and unsure. Then his voice steadied, warm as candlelight in a darkened room, the kind that melts walls without touching them. It wasn't the song itself that caught Arin, it was the way Noah sang, as if memory turned into breath and longing turned into melody. The sky knew it, too, lightning arced pale silver behind clouds like a heartbeat echoing the one inside Arin's chest. After he finished, students clapped, laughed, teased him affectionately. Arin stood in the shadows, hands cold. Something was happening. He didn't know it yet, but all his carefully arranged loneliness had just cracked. 2 nights later came the moment that sealed fate from both ends. The hostel power tripped again during heavy rain, leaving the corridor dark. The wind howled past windows as if the night itself was looking for shelter. Noah's voice came softly from outside Arin's door, not knocking this time, just sitting on the floor across the hallway. "You can ignore me if you want," he said quietly, "but for some reason, being near your door feels safer than waiting in my room alone." Arin stayed silent, listening, shocked by the strange ache the words planted in his chest. Noah didn't ask to come in. He didn't try to force conversation. He simply stayed. "And, I don't know if you hate me," he continued, voice almost drowned beneath rain, "but I don't hate you. You just feel like someone who carries a storm inside, and I hope someday you let someone stand in the rain with you." Arin closed his eyes. The words struck somewhere deep, a door he had locked so long ago that rust had become memory. Noah eventually stood and left. But a seed had been planted. Not in Noah, in Arin. From then on, the silence changed shape. Arin still didn't speak much, but his door stayed unlocked once or twice longer than usual. He didn't pull away when Noah's shoulder brushed his in the corridor. He didn't walk off immediately when Noah said good morning. The world calls these tiny gestures nothing. Love recognizes them as beginning. The real turning point arrived on a twilight evening soaked in indigo sky. Noah was seated on the hostel terrace, sketchbook open, drawing clouds as if trying to understand softness by tracing it. Arin came upstairs unknowingly, as he often did, to breathe away the crowd. When he noticed Noah, he turned to leave. "No, wait," Noah said, smiling gently. "I can leave if you want the space." "You were here first," Arin replied, voice soft but still guarded. "You can sit too," Noah said. Not an invitation, a warmth. Arin hesitated, then sat at the opposite edge of the bench, far but not unreachable. Minutes passed, but not heavy ones, not the kind that drag, but the kind that linger. Noah spoke first. "Do you ever feel like some people don't choose to be quiet, it's just the world never learned how to listen to them?" Arin turned his head. Those words, not loud, not dramatic, fit him like a mirror. "Yes," he said. One word, but for him, it was a confession. Noah lowered his gaze to the sky. "I'm glad." "Why?" "Because I've been trying to understand you without breaking the silence you live in. I didn't want to trespass, only to be allowed in when you're ready." No one had ever said something like that to him. Arin didn't speak, but something warm slipped into his pulse and stayed there. The sky dimmed into starlight, and for the first time in years, Arin shared silence with someone who wasn't himself. That night, Noah stayed in Arin's mind like an echo that wouldn't fade. He lay awake listening, not to noise, but to longing, wearing a face he now knew too well. Somewhere between 1 a.m. and surrender, Arin realized the frightening truth. Noah was not a distraction. He was a doorway. The next days came like chapters unrolling. A shared bench became a habit. A soft, good night, outside a half-open door became a ritual. A mug of chai left on Arin's desk before morning became routine. Little things, the kind people call coincidence. But hearts know better. One late afternoon, Arin returned from class and found Noah asleep on the terrace steps, hoodie curled around him, sketchbook resting on his lap with a drawing unfinished, a sketch of the campus pond, except the reflection on the water held 2 silhouettes instead of 1. Arin stared at it a long time. Maybe Noah didn't know what he was drawing. Or maybe he did. He sat down quietly beside him, not touching, but not turning away either. Noah stirred awake slowly and blinked against the low golden light. "You came," he murmured, voice soft with drowsiness. Arin looked at him, really looked, the creases near his eyes, the softness pooling in his smile, the way being near him made silence feel like warmth instead of absence. "I was already here," Arin said. Noah blinked, then smiled, not bright this time, but tender in a way that sinks into your ribs and stays there. The closeness grew without either naming it. Until the night everything tipped, beautifully, irrevocably. The hostel had gone quiet early, soaked in silver blue darkness. The air smelled like rain again, restless and waiting. Noah knocked gently on Arin's half-open door. No power cut this time. Noah smiled softly, stepping inside when Arin nodded. I just wanted to sit with you a while. Arin's room was neat, minimal, almost untouched by life. A desk lamp painted Noah's face in amber. The world outside blurred into darkness. Inside felt like a held breath. They sat on the edge of the bed, a small distance between them that felt both too much and too little. Arin didn't speak first. Noah did. I know you don't say much, but I want you to know that I notice things. The way you listen without interrupting. The way you stay even when you pretend you're not staying. The way you look at people like you're afraid of wanting anything. Arin's pulse tightened. Noah breathed in, voice lower now, not nervous, just sincere. You think you're hard to love, he said quietly. You're not. You're just someone no one ever stayed long enough to understand. There it was. A truth delivered like a touch. Something inside Arin cracked wide open, not like broken glass, but like a window finally unlatched. His voice came out raw. Why me? Because you make silence feel like a place I want to stay, Noah whispered. Lightning flickered against the clouds. Thunder rolled soft and slow, like applause from the sky. Arin turned his face toward him, not fully, just enough for their breathing to brush. You keep standing outside my walls, Arin said, voice barely breath. Aren't you tired? Noah shook his head once. I'm not waiting for you to open the door for me. Then what? I'm waiting for you to want me inside. The room went still, like time itself paused to listen. Arin's breath shivered once, the first crack of surrender. I do, he whispered. Noah closed his eyes, just for a moment, as if receiving the words straight into his heart before daring to move. When he opened them again, they were full of softness that undid years of solitude in a single look. Then let me in, he murmured. And Arin did, not with keys or doors, but with nearness. He reached out slowly and touched Noah's wrist, a feather-light contact that carried the weight of everything he had never dared to give. Noah's breath hitched, and the world sharpened into one truth. This was what home had always been waiting to feel like. Noah moved closer, not rushing, not claiming, just closing distance like dawn closing night. Their foreheads touched first, gentle, hesitant, electric. Arin inhaled, eyes half-lidded, heart no longer braced for fear. I don't know what to do, he confessed quietly. You don't have to know, Noah whispered. Just feel. He tilted his head slightly, and their lips met like slow rain on thirsty earth, soft, trembling, inevitable. It wasn't a kiss of hunger, but of recognition, the kind that doesn't ask but answers. Arin's hands rose uncertainly before settling against Noah's chest, feeling the steady thrum of his heartbeat, warm and real and wanting. Noah deepened the kiss just a little, giving Arin room to breathe into it, lean into it, choose it. And Arin did. When they finally parted, barely an inch, still touching breath, Arin's voice was softer than moonlight. Stay. A simple word. A vow disguised as invitation. Noah nodded, eyes shining. Always. They didn't rush. They didn't collapse into each other. They eased into closeness, like two waves learning they were once the same ocean. Noah rested his head against Arin's shoulder, and Arin, for the first time, wrapped his arms around someone not out of instinct, but out of finally choosing warmth over loneliness. Their hands intertwined, tentative, then certain. Two heartbeats learning harmony. Silence, no longer a shield. Silence, now a shared blanket. The night cradled them gently, and in that quiet, unguarded space, a door opened inside Arin that would never close again. Love had not arrived loudly. It had settled softly, not a storm outside, but a shelter within. And in that shelter, Noah became home.